everyone. Welcome back to Muppin Sewing Emporium. How are you doing today? It's Friday, and that means it is time for Muppin Sewing Emporium. It's Friday at 7. Hope you're doing well. It's very cold outside. I have to say, it was beautiful earlier this week. It was like 60 degrees. Today, it's 30s and terrible outside. So I'm going to share this to the Muppet Sewing Emporium page because I could not log in and get to it today. I tried doing that. Apparently, it did not want to work for me. So here we are. Anyway, if you are watching, be sure to say hello and where you are from. In case you do not know, my name is Cheryl. You can call me Muppin. And today, we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. I wanted to show you, back when we were doing Heirloom Afternoon every week, we had a very fun little project we were doing with irons. Okay, and you're like, that is not an iron, it's in a bag. Why is this iron in a bag? And I have to show you this because it's just too weird and kooky. It's very weird. So let's bring this up so that you can see this kooky iron. Okay, and let's see if we can get this this party started. So, okay. So we've got the iron and we've got it in this little leather kind of bag. And again, this was an iron that I was going to show on my my YouTube series, but we have been getting things out of my storage unit, and I have to say, some of these things are really like so odd when I pick them up. So anyway, here is the little iron, and I mean little, like there's my hand, okay? But that's not the most interesting part of this iron. This is considered a travel iron. It's very small. I think they say on here that it's only like 5 inches long, and that's true. It's only 5 inches long. Look at that. But the most interesting thing about this iron is the plug. My friends, that is a socket that goes into a light bulb socket. Is that not the weirdest thing you've ever seen an iron have? Is a light bulb socket? Like I'm dying to try it out without starting a fire in my in my building. But yeah, it's got a light bulb socket as a socket. It's so cool. Okay, and so for those of you that don't know this iron brand, because you might not, let me unwrap her. Again, these are gems that I am unearthing from my storage unit. Okay. So, this is called a Bonnie Dover. Okay, and it's the Dover Manufacturing Company. They lovingly tell you that it is only 2.5 pounds. So, and it's 110 volts, which means you can put this into a light bulb socket. Is that not the craziest thing? Plus, can we just talk about, like, this here will probably be the reason a fire starts, okay? So we are not going to be using this iron, but how cool is that? So first of all, it's like that knob and tube fabric covering thing going on, and then you have the socket that is a light bulb socket. So it comes with a little plate with little ball feet, sits right on there. I mean, I have to tell you, this is one heck of an iron. So, hi, how are ya? That's how nicely flat this iron is. Nice and shiny. Hello. Um, and yeah, so I have to say I'm having a lot of fun researching irons. And this was one of those irons that was in storage, and we've been slowly bringing all of the things from the storage unit here, and this one I had almost completely forgotten about because it comes with a little, like this weird little doctor bag. And this is how they were actually sold. So this was not just like some random bag. They were sold as travel irons. And so the little plate goes in there, and then the iron itself goes in here, and you wrapped up the little cord, and then you were able to like snap this shut, and voila. And so this was a travel iron. I know, Charlotte, this is so cool, right? Like, little crazy iron in a bag. I mean, yeah. So we have that. I just had to show you that little dude, because he was just too cool to check to look at. So it's cold out, but I have the heat on in here. Wow, like my hair is really crazy looking right now. It's there we go. So yeah, so we have that. The other thing I want to talk to you about tonight is we are doing pre-orders for the new product lines that we're getting in. This is your chance to grab all of the fabrics that we have coming. Specifically, we're doing Free Spirit pre-orders first, just to test and see how these go, because I don't know, I don't know how pre-orders work with other companies. I know how I want to do them. So we're just going to see. Okay. So this one is the first one. This is Tula Pink's Roar. And I am going to give you a little bit bigger view here. So one of the things I want to tell you about these fabrics is, first of all, it's Tula Pink. You know they're going to be bright. They're going to be brighter than they show up on this video. So there's that. And there's 21 fabrics in this line, which is a ton of fabrics. But there's some really, really cool oversized polka dots. You've got some awesome like blender fabrics, like that crazy like lightning zigzag looking thing there. And then you have the dinosaurs. Okay, you've got the if you look at the teal one, okay, and it's going to be like right there. Okay, that teal one, and there's a pink one also up in the corner over there. There's two. That one is a border stripe of dinosaurs, and it's repeated on the other end of the selvage. So it's selvage to all along the selvage dinosaur stripe. So excited for that. That's going to be really cool. Lots and lots of really cool dinosaurs. Pterodactyls, raptors, T-Rexes, you name it, it's going to be in this collection. So we're pretty excited about the Tula Pink Roar. These are all pre-orderable right now on our website. And you can also come into the shop and pre-order them. Okay. So shop.muppin.com, fabric is where you're going to find all the pre-orders. Okay. So we've got this one. And then we are getting Tabby Road, which is an older collection. This is called Tabby Road Deja Vu. Here is, well, it's not really much bigger, is it? But anyway, I'm out of the way. So this is her collection from about 10 years ago that was very cat centric. There's the little cat cans. There's the dots are like fur balls. They're not quite dots. You have this it's right here, but it's on the other end. That ombre diamond thing. I have seen that fabric in person. It is chef's kiss. So cool. You also have the little cat eyes and oops, the stripe. This collection is aces, 8 pieces. We're offering the pre-orders in yards and half yards. This one you can order right now. But wait, there's more. Okay, we're also getting in Corey Dantini's ghostly greetings. Okay, so if you remember, we still have some of Pretty Creepy, which was her collection from last year. We are getting her collection from this year. All of her collections work together. So if you love Corey Dantini, you're going to love, 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 love this collection. It's, again, chef's kiss. You're going to love it. It's amazing. 8 pieces, yards, and half yards. And then there's this one. And you're like, Cheryl, you just showed the Tabby Road. And I did. Except this is Minky by Tula Pink. And her cat fabric, the diamond fabric, and the fur ball are all going to be released in a Minky fabric. So what does that mean? It means it's going to have like that sort of fuzzy pile, like it's like a very low loft faux fur. This is going to be 100% polyester, but it is going to make the yummiest quilt backs, hoodies, sweatpants, sweatshirts, you name it, jackets. This is going to be amazing stuff. It's so pretty. It's like reproduced exactly from Tula Pink's colors. I have felt the fabric. I have pet the fabric. It is incredible. So we're so excited to get these in stock. Oh my gosh. Okay, so these, I have to point the other way. These come out in July. These come out in May. These come out in July. This comes out in April. So, hello, Mary. How are you? That is where to get them. Okay? So, very excited about all of this. Incredible. Okay, so we have been taking pre-orders to our email list already exclusively. We are now opening those pre-orders up to you. We only have so much fabric coming in, so we can only offer so many pre-orders. And so this is your chance, okay? If you want to get that on pre-order, now is your time. Now is the time, okay? We've got Roar dinosaurs, including this print right here, which is a dinosaur border print, okay? So it's going to run along the border of the bottom of the fabric selvage and across the top of the selvage. So it's going to be repeatable, making skirts, dresses. I cannot wait. It's going to be amazing. Lots of really cool sort of prehistoric protea, fantastical florals. You've got crazy dino fabric, and then like incredible border prints and whatnot. Triceratopses, pterodactyls, and raptors and T-Rexes. How can you go wrong? Okay. And then you've got cats. Who doesn't love a good cat? We've got cat cans, and we've got stripes, and we've got that incredible diamond print over there, which I cannot even tell you how amazing it is. It's got such fussy cut potential. It's incredible. And then you have, of course, what they're calling Club Kitty and Disco Kitty, and the mouse in the flowers over there. So cute. Then you've got Ghostly Greetings coming in May for all of you Halloween fanatics out there like me. Yes, we're getting Corey Dantini's Ghostly Greetings collection. Pre-order it now. If you want these in yards or half yards, this is the time to grab it. Okay. And then the Tula Pink, Tabby Road, Deja Vu, Minky. It's finally, can we just say for a hot second though, because we have very few innovations, true innovations in the fabric world, in the quilting world. And I love when people do something new. And the fact that Tula Pink is even doing these is awesome, because to me, that's innovation. That's thinking outside the box. That's starting to appeal to garment makers and so on. So I'm just saying, this is the time. So I love that. And yes, did I tell you it's starting to snow outside? It is. All right, so we showed the iron, and then we're going to get back to this little project of mine, the tuffet. This tuffet panel. It's not going to finish itself, my friends. So let's bring back our camera, and let's do this. All right. So as you may recall, we've been working here on this piece. Now, at home, at my house, I have probably, I don't know, another 2 yards of this already made. It's just got to get connected to this end. Let me make this bigger. There we go. So I have another 2 yards of this already made, and it's really hard to tell exactly how much you're going to need in order to fill up this whole thing. Now, if you did not watch us last week, we are doing rouleau, which is a super dimensional fabric manipulation technique that was very popular in the early 1700s up until, I want to say, 1930s and 40s, and then it kind of falls off. So, it had a good 200 plus year run. I'm not saying that's not an impressive feat, right? But if you make a design like this and you are trying to figure out how much of this material is going to get used up, what you could do is you can take a piece of yarn and you can use the yarn to trace the whole outline, and that will tell you how much of the rouleau to make. So that is good to know. Marsha's asking, did I add any cording into this? No. So there's no cording in it. It's just a flat piece of fabric. Okay. So this started off life as a 1-inch tube or flat piece of fabric on the bias. So on this particular technique, you must cut this on the bias in order for it to work. Okay, because it has to go around all these twists and turns, you really need the range of motion for the bias. But also, once you put this on, let's say, a body or a form, or in this case, we're going to be putting it on the tuffet, we need it to be able to curve with the fabric, and that can only happen when you have this cut on the bias. If you have it cut on the straight of grain, you will get lots of bad puckering and tucking and folding that happens instead of beautiful curviness. So that's the difference here. So and I need to, which I have to use the right color thread. And so in this particular piece, what we're doing is we're adding this strip onto a design that I have already marked onto the fabric. And I have done that with, wherever it went, here it is, my friction pen. Okay, so because we're putting our design directly on top of that line, we don't need to worry about how we're removing that line. It can just secretly lay under there. And if the marks ever did come back, I don't need to worry about it. Okay, so this is going to be a technique that we're going to do from like sort of the back of the fabric, but also the front. I know that's really hard to explain. Okay, so we're going to put our knot through the back, just like that. And then we're going to bring the needle up to the front, because we're really just going to be using all of the stitching on the front. Now, if you remember last week, I did a lot of telling you that you need to alternate which side you take your stitches on, because what will happen is if you take stitches, like let's say we did all of our stitches from this side of the fabric, this rouleau that's, instead of standing up, will have a tendency to flop over to that side. And so we want to take a few stitches on one side and then switch so that we take stitches on the other side, so that we make this extremely even. And we want to take lots of small stitches, because what we're trying to do is to secure this to its background, but we don't want any big gaps for it to be like anything to kind of get like pulled up anywhere. So we want lots of small stitches. Again, this is one of those projects that is easy to pack up and keep with you, and to constantly be able to look up at the television and then look back down to see where you need to take your next stitches at. This is what I like about small portable projects. That's always a real positive in my view. So we're just going to make sure that, it sits directly on the line, and then take a couple stitches in one direction, and then move your needle to the other side to take stitches from the other direction. It does seem like a little bit of a hassle at first, like, the first time that you have to switch sides at what feels like a really kind of inconvenient moment, um, can be really, it makes you want to stop doing the switching and just, say, forget it. And then I'm going to just do this the other way. But you don't get the height like that unless you're doing that stitching in every other, like every couple of I say it's like every couple of stitches. It actually goes a lot faster than you think it does. I don't know. I mean, to many people, and I can't tell you the number of times I've talked to students or people who will see me doing a demo or whatever, and they'll say, "Oh, I love the look. I just can't do the handwork," right? Handwork and I don't get along, or handwork and I are not friends, or I've heard it all. And yeah, I mean, you kind of have to like handwork to do it, I say. But that's just me, and I really do like handwork. I would say that I'm more of a handwork aficionado than not. So there's that. Marsha's asking, am I taking eighth or quarter inch stitches? In this case, Marsha, sorry. Marsha, I am taking about eighth of an inch stitch. I have taken quarter inch stitches on things in the past, but not with this technique. Okay. And yes, you're going into the rouleau. So this is the strip. The strip is called rouleau, and you're going into the strip. Yes. And you're going into the strip and into the base fabric, and you're just taking that little eighth of an inch stitch there, and then you, again, every few stitches or so, you're going to want to switch to the other side and just continue on, but taking stitches from the other side of the rouleau, and that's to get it to stand up perfectly. If you don't do these alternating, you get stuff that wants to lean in one direction or the other. You can see that right here. It's kind of leaning. Okay. Now, I mean, I could take my finger and I can kind of zhuzh it a little, but it's always going to have a tendency to want to lean in the direction of the stitch. And there really isn't a way for you to do all these stitches from the back. Okay. They're kind of like stitches that must be taken from the front in order to catch the back and the cording. But when you look at the back, okay, you get to see that all your stitches are here to hold everything on. It's kind of, I mean, it's very popular in Regency era, so Jane Austen, that kind of stuff. Mr. Darcy, Elizabeth Bennet, Pride and Prejudice stuff. There's a lot of rouleau on the ladies' jackets that go over their white gowns. So the Spencerian jackets. Hamilton is another one. Hamilton, the musical. The actors in the show and in the movie, they have this kind of piping on. It's like a piping, but it's not a piping. It's rouleau. That's what it's called. So there's that. So yeah, if you missed it earlier, we've got pre-orders for new fabric lines coming on our website, and we are taking pre-orders. So if you love Tula Pink or any of those, now's a great time to go ahead and place those pre-orders on our website. And here's what I mean when I say that it leans, okay? Because this is leaning one direction and we want it to like do more standing up. Okay, we want it to stand on the edge. And to do that, we've got to alternate which side we take the stitches on. And that keeps it from leaning in like too much in one direction. So ruching is a completely different technique. And that is now we have a pattern for ruching in our shop that teaches you the basics of ruching. Ruching is spelled Ruching. This looks like it's spelling rutching. But ruching is actually the act of gathering fabric. So ruching is actually different than rouleau. And of course, I love the EAUX on the French word rouleau. And this technique, again, it's old. It appears on a lot of French court dresses all the way into the 1800s. Mary says, this looks fabulous so far. It does. I mean, it does go when you start doing it. It does seem to me to go fast, but you have to want to see the progress. I think a lot of people get stuck on like, oh my gosh, there's so many like lumpy bumps to do. And you get kind of wrapped up in the fact that there's so much of it that I don't really think about how far I have to go. I just think about like doing it. And you know that's one of my tips. Like, honestly, it's like it's not going to get done if I don't do it, right? So that's handwork in a nutshell. Most people look at it and go, oh, that seems like such a lot of work. And I just look at it as like, well, the sooner I start, the sooner it'll get done. And then we're coming up here on a spot in the rouleau where two pieces have been joined. And so when I cut this, you can only get so much out of the piece in one go. And so in order for me to get this long continuous piece, okay, all of this, you have to join them. And then there will be these, so it's a little bit like binding, because you join them on the angle. So here's the first one of these. And honestly, it's just going to get hidden in this curve. And I don't think anybody would know it was here unless they were looking for it. They do tend to disappear into the work in order to be, and they kind of just, fall into place with the rest of the work. So honestly, unless you're really looking for where the joins are, yeah, you would get to these little spots here where they are joined together. So it just depends. So Marsha's asking, last week did I show how to make the tube? Yes, I did. So, and then next week, because I have about 2 yards worth of tube at home that I've been doing in front of the television, I'll have more to join at the end of this one. And so if I get through this whole piece, which I'm pretty sure I will, I'll have to join that piece to this piece. But for the most part, the other portion will remain like off to the side. And I can ball this up. Like I can wrap this up around like a spool or something and just keep it off to the side and unspool as much of it as I need. So in a way, it's like a yarn. And it basically just stays out of the way. But I mean, it's an old technique. It's not new. But it's new to many people, and it's new as far as doing this in a quilt or in a quilted project or something like that. So, I mean, I get it. This is going to be a technique that not very many people but the effect is so cool. Like it really is. Tammy says that looks awesome. It is. It's a lot of fun. And again, I am just trying to make a little progress here on this. I think this weekend I'm going to take this home. I am going to teach this. This is part of the new techniques that are going into my next handwork class. We're going to start looking at what new classes for 2024 and 2025. So that's really cool. Tammy says, I love those needles. I have to say that I am still impressed to this day that people love these needles so much. And honestly, they're the best things that we sell. Like we make these, we have these manufactured for us, exclusively for us, and they are my favorite. Because as you can see, like how I sew, all right? I used to sew with my pinky in the air and with these 2 fingers, okay? I know I've told this story a million times, but I'll tell like a short version again. I used to sew like this. I would sew with these 2 fingers, and occasionally I would push with this finger, and then I overdid it, and I injured this tendon from doing too much. And so I went to an occupational therapist to rehab this finger, because all of its strength, once I had that finger injury, all the strength in this hand went. And you don't realize how much this finger does when you're doing everything from like zipping your pants to turning a doorknob. I mean, it was everything was with this. And I had these little dinky needles that were like this tall, this long, and I would sit there like a little prissy girl, and I would have my pinky in the air and I would sew. And my occupational therapist was like, and they all made this face. I mean, they were so mortified. And they said, you have to train your hand to bring all of these fingers in, okay, not with the thread on it, all of these fingers in, and use an additional finger for grip and for pushing, because all of the pressure was on this knuckle here to constantly be doing all of this pushing. And it was also creating a big problem here because my thumbs hyperextend. And so I have this like little platform I'm building that was pushing down, and it was pushing my thumb backwards, which was going to cause problems down the road here on my hand. So if you have any of these hand fatigue issues, this is going to be what you're going to want to do, is longer needle, more grip, and use all of your fingers to help put that needle in and push and pull. Okay, because if you don't, then if you have your finger in the air, I mean, like, I feel in my hand how different my muscles move just by putting my pinky in the air. Now, I mean, if you watch, they always tell you, like, get that pinky and bring it in and train yourself to sew like this. And I had to relearn how to sew so that I could sew the proper way, so that I was not injuring my finger anymore. And so my lesson let my injury be a lesson to you, so that you don't do that. Now, I still have problems with my thumb hyperextending, and that's just how my thumbs are. If you have anyone that that's double jointed, it's like my only double joint, and it's in my thumb. And so I'm trying to not do it, but it's really hard. And then there is a device that's sold by some orthopedic guys. I think you can buy them online and on Amazon. You don't need a prescription for them, but if you can get one from your OT, I would do that. And it's called an Oval 8. And it's just a brace that fits over your knuckle, and it keeps your thumb from going backwards. So it kind of forces your thumb to point straight instead of like that. And so it's a brace that's like plastic, and it just keeps that from going backwards. And so, yeah. Charlotte says, when you play the ukulele, you have to get the pinky in play. We call that pinky power. It's true. You got to get that pinky in play. And when you sew, and I mean, again, just hold your needle and like feel how different your hand is when you raise that pinky up and down, and it's you can feel it in your hand. I know you're all doing that right now, right? So, I mean, that's the goal, right? Is to get your pinky to stop from going in the air. I don't know who taught us that was like supposed to be like the ooh la la, of holding things, but it does not do your sewing any favors. Okay. And I also found that I was doing it when I was holding a teacup. Okay. Like the British, like even the British people will tell you, you're not supposed to have your pinky in the air. Even the royalty, when they hold their teacup, they have all their fingers curled in. So let that be your Anglophile lesson of the day. So we were watching Downton Abbey, or I was watching Downton Abbey, I should say, and my kid was like, they have such funny Australian accents. And I was like, well, they're not Australian, buddy. They're British. and they did the accent first. So I just thought that was funny that he said Downton Abbey folks had a Australian accent. Okay, so we're going around this curve here. And some of these curves are tight, some of them are not. But once again, it's about flipping your stitches from one side to the other just to get that uh, edge to stand upright. And I think I'll go like, let me do one more. You know, it's always like decisions, you know, and they just pass it under. It doesn't really like do anything. You're just trying to get it from one end to the other. And you're probably thinking, like, you haven't gone very far, Cheryl, since I've been doing this video. But it does go quick. I mean, last video we did the tube and up to here, and I think I did a couple more stitches after I got off the air. But you know, that's kind of the thing, is you just, these kinds of projects, I put down and I pick up a lot. I have several projects going right now that are put it down, pick it up kind of projects. I'm doing a couple personal quilts, which I haven't done in a while. And then I am already designing around some of the fabric that's coming in for projects for when the new fabrics come in, which is always exciting. And we're also, you know, still getting ready for Quilt Week. Fun stuff. Exciting. But yeah, the new pre-orders are all up, and it's, you know, when they bring all these fabrics to the store and they say, you know, what do you think? And like, man, there's so many that just look like fabric we already had, and fabric that is just been on the market for a really long time, or, you know, and it's just, it's really hard to pick fabric that is new, exciting, usable is like the big thing, right? I saw a whole lot of fabric that I could not imagine who the end user is. No clue who they think that person is. No clue. And it gets really, you start to wonder, like, who is this for? And it's certainly not even a traditional customer. It's like this new, so much of it's really derivative. It's all stuff we've seen before. And you could almost say that about the dinosaurs, because we've had two other collections in store that were called Roar. So, you know, it's like, is dinosaurs new? Not really. I'm anxious to see what she does for what Tula Pink does for the fall. We passed on her last fall collection and chose not to carry it. Because again, it just did not reach me, didn't reach out to me, didn't get me. And you know, if I can't see a use for it, like, you know, it's not that I have the final say, right? My husband also picks the fabric, but man, it was just not a great collection to me. And I talked to other retailers and they say that the fabric was not doing well in their stores. So, you know, you kind of have to wonder after a while, like, who's this stuff for? And if the people who are buying it aren't buying it, then, you know, there you go. Okay. So as you can see, we're getting this sort of curly Q flowery thing done. it's a lot of lumps and bumps. Tammy says, I agree. I saw some fabric that had gorillas on it in hats. Gorillas in hats. And the companion fabrics were like bananas with sunglasses and like some crazy, crazy stuff. And all I could think of was, who is buying this? And it was like some like young hip designer that was doing the fabric. Some artist, like not a quilt artist. They were like, I don't know. Apparently they were big in NFTs. And I was like, is that what we're coming now to? Is like we're getting NFT designers to design fabric? I will tell you, we passed on it. And I could not see who that person was. And honestly, like I think they thought we were gonna buy it. Like, oh, Cheryl will probably like this. I was like, hey, you thought wrong. That was not for us. It was very weird. Anyway, that said, you kind of have to see that people can make stuff out of the stuff you pick. And there are some fabric lines out there that are just gosh darn ugly. And that's why, when I design a quilt, I usually design it in solids. Let's see. I saw the cutest quilt that had applique boy boxer shorts in squares. Gorilla and banana fabric would be cute for that. That would be cute for that. But that's one quilt. Right? So I don't know. Yeah. Marsha asks, what would I design? Well, I have had a fabric line. No, I didn't have a fabric line, but I had a pitch that I gave to a fabric company once. It didn't go anywhere, obviously, but it was novelty prints. They were what we're calling conversation prints. They were robots, circuitry, all real cutesy stuff. And a lot of it was like illustration style. It was very cute. But now that's a dime a dozen. And I'm kind of glad it didn't get made. The other thing I think I would design would be a collection of wovens or a collection of shot cottons. And that would be a cotton where the warp and the weft thread are a different color. And I think that would be I would love to like hand select that as a collection. It would be just like, I want these two colors woven together. And these two colors woven together. And they would create like a solid, but when the fabric is folded or manipulated in any way, all of those shot cottons have like an iridescence to them. And I'm kind of here for that. So I would also like to do something in a non-traditional quilt fabric, like some kind of cotton silk blend, cotton linen blend, cotton metallic blend. Yeah, I think I want to go like way outside the box if I were to do it. Something really, really different. That was usable in what I do. And that's why when I design a quilt, I always make the cover quilt in solids, because that's the only way to really plan it. You can always find a solid that's going to be close to the colors that your cover quilt is in, right? You can always say, well, I don't have these solids. If I make it out of Kona, you could say, then I'll make the, but I can only find Bella solids or Moda solids, then great. Then use those. As long as you get close, it doesn't matter. But if I design in solids, it's about the design, not the fabric. I hope that makes sense, right? Because a lot of designers design around the fabric. And then that quilt only really works in that one fabric collection. And that's not going to work long term, right? Then you have to find another fabric collection that your design works well in. I also think that, pre-cuts, I think a quilt that's pre-cut friendly, like using fat quarters and using 5-inch and 10-inch squares, is really smart, because those are things that everybody has. And designing a quilt, honest to God, I saw a quilt during this period where we just had our visits with all of our quilt sales reps. And one of the reps showed me a quilt with 41 fabrics in it. 41 fabrics. I was like, what millionaire is making that quilt? Because it's not for your average quilter. Who does that? I just found that ridiculous. Just saying. 41 fabrics in a quilt. Get out of town. Now, 40 like charm size? Sure. This was like 41 fat quarters, like 3 yards of background, all that. And I was like, nope. And she kept trying to go, but it comes in a nice box. I'm like, nope. Like, my cost was outrageous. Not to mention what I got to mark it up and sell it for. No way. 41 fabrics. Not going to happen here. Hey, there's somebody out there for that, but it's not me. And it's not my shop. Just saying. I like things that do more than one thing, and that includes a pattern. You got to be able to use that pattern at least a couple times, right? You want to be able to use that pattern a couple times to learn a technique, and then make it in this color and that color and give it as gifts and be able to use it. I don't know how many times I've bought a pattern and I look at it a year later and go, what was I thinking? Why did I buy that? I don't even like that quilt anymore. So there's that. Anyway, let's take a final look at what we made. We got this piece here. Oh, it's like shaking. There we go. Moving the table too much. That's as far as we got, but I will continue to work on it. It will be much further along next time. I am going to need more. I'm going to need more of the cording. So I will attach the piece here on the end. And that will just, make more. But if I didn't tell you where the fabric thing, the edging is, you wouldn't know. And this is where it's going to curve under the tuffet. So we do not need to make anything go beyond this, because this is all just going to get folded onto the bottom of the tuffet. We don't want to make all that stuff for the bottom. That seems silly. Okay, so this is where we got. I'm pretty excited about it. I hope you are too. I'm going to go. It's a beautiful weekend here in Paducah. Come on down and see us. It's we're going to be teaching over at the extension office on Monday, the President's Day. So I'm excited to see some people there. Don't forget, we still have classes at the National Quilt Museum and AQS Paducah. Don't forget about those. And I will see all of you next week, my friends. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe. I'll see all of you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.